And sitting in for Dr. Joel Wallach today, we've got Dr. Peter Glidden. Welcome to the show, Dr. Glidden.
Hey. So happy to be back. Dr. Wallach continues his Canadian health tour marathon tonight, March 31st, at the Many Mansions Spiritual Center, the Many Mansions Spiritual Center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Hamilton, Ontario, Canada tonight. Dr. Joel Wallach starts at 7 o'clock. Registration time, 6 o'clock. Be there or be square. If you are in Hamilton, if you know anybody in Hamilton, if you have friends, even if you have enemies who live in Hamilton, tell them to go and listen to Dr. Wallach tonight, 180 Beach Boulevard in Hamilton, in the great province of Ontario, way up there in Canada. I know. It's kind of tragic when somebody misses their calling in life, and you're probably thinking to yourself, Doc, you should have been a singer. Dr. Wallach, on the other hand, just completed a 4-city tour for Team Glidden. That's my Youngevity team up there in the greater province of Alberta. Dr. Wallach did a lecture in Edmonton, then he did a lecture in Sherwood Park, and then he did a lecture in Camrose, and then all the way down to Calgary. 4 nights in a row. Dr. Wallach is the marathon man. He's like the Energizer Bunny. My hat goes off to him. I don't know how he does it at 74 years of age. A year ago, I was giving 100 free. I've given about 150 free lectures for Youngevity in the last 4 years. Dr. Wallach gives 300 a year. 300 free lectures a year. Why does he do it? Because everybody is sick and suffering needlessly. Why does he do it? Because everybody is broke. Why does he do it? Because he is on a mission to help mankind recover their health and optimize their wealth. And what better way to do that than with Youngevity? By the way, that's why Dr. Wallach set Youngevity up as a network marketing business. Did you know that? Dr. Wallach could have done anything. He could have set Youngevity up as just a normal vitamin business. He could have sold his vitamins, his nutritional supplements, through normal retail outlets, right? Go to GNC, go to Sam's Club, go to Costco, buy Dr. Wallach's vitamins. He could have done that. He could have set it up as a direct-to-physician only nutraceutical company. I used to work for a company that did that, and it's big bucks. Dr. Wallach didn't do that. Dr. Wallach made a conscious decision, and, it put him at odds with the naturopathic profession, quite frankly, because everybody looked down their nose at Doc when he did this. But there's a method to the madness. Dr. Wallach chose on purpose to set Youngevity up as a network marketing business for one reason: to populate his message, the holistic health message of health recovery through science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition to as many people as humanly possible. And what better way to do that than to set up a grassroots network of people all around the world who are paid to do that? It's brilliant. Grassroots networking, that's what it's all about, man. Worked pretty great for the church, didn't it? It started with 2 people, John the Baptist, Jesus Christ. Look at it now. It's everywhere all the time. Look at the Buddhist religion. Started with 1 person, the Buddha. Look at it now. Look at Hinduism. Started with 1 person, Krishna. Look at it now. It's everywhere all the time. Why? Because you can't hold the truth under a bushel. Once you've experienced the truth, once you've experienced the efficacy of Dr. Wallach's health recovery protocols, you're in like Flynn, because the proof of the pudding's in the eating. And so, if you're suffering with a chronic health condition and you get on board with a medical nutrition protocol, the intention of which is to support and promote and optimize your joint function, your lung function, your heart function, whatever, and it works, you're no longer in pain. You no longer need the inhaler. You're sleeping through the night. Your energy's back. You're feeling pretty good. What are you going to do? Shut up about that? No. You're going to tell as many people as you can, because you're just downright excited, because you're a decent, caring, normal human being. That's what human beings do. We help each other out. We're basically honest people. We help each other out. So this is Dr. Wallach's genius. Dr. Wallach sets Youngevity up as a network business in order to grow a grassroots coalition of the informed, by disseminate his boilerplate foundation medical nutrition recovery protocols, right? I mean, years ago, we doubled our lifespan just by cleaning up the water supply and having more regular food production. Cleaning up the water supply and having more regular food production doubled our lifespans. Well, now we need to further clean up our diets, stop eating food that's hurting us, and give the body the nutrients that it needs to effectively optimize its structure and function every day. And when we add that piece of the health recovery puzzle to the puzzle, everything gets better. It is the single biggest overlooked factor in ill health in the world, under-nutrification. 90 essential nutrients that your body needs in order to support and promote its structure and function. 90 essential nutrients that your body needs to be healthy. 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 2 essential fatty acids, which are impossible to secure just from eating from the 4 basic food groups. You cannot do it. It is only a matter of time, if you are not supplementing, until your body runs out of something, and then something breaks, and then you go to an MD who doesn't know anything about medical nutrition, and they throw a drug at it. The drug doesn't fix the problem. The drug manages the problem. The drug has to be increased because it burns through your nutrient reserves, and that's how drugs work. Then they add another drug, and then another drug, and then another drug, and then 2 more drugs for the side effects, and then you die. There's a different way, ladies and gentlemen, developed and delivered by licensed and regulated physicians. It's the Youngevity way, and it's here for the asking. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, your steadfast advocate for health. Don't even think about touching that dial. Thanks a lot, Doug. What are the MDs up to today?
Well, I saw this story from Reuters, and I knew there was always a reason ever since I was a kid why I did not like daylight savings time. And earlier in my radio career, I worked on morning shows where you've got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then you're trying to go to sleep, and it's still daylight out, and so you're lucky if you get 4 hours of sleep. And I just detested when this time of year came around. Well, now there's a study out. It came from the University of Colorado in Denver, and the lead author is a cardiology fellow, a Dr. Amneet Sandhu, and the headline reads, Daylight Saving Time Linked to Heart Attacks, according to this study. Say switching over to daylight saving time and losing an hour of sleep raised the risk of having a heart attack on the following Monday by 25%, according to this U.S. study. And they said, by contrast, the heart attack risk fell 21% later in the year on the Tuesday after the clock was turned back to standard time. There's the impact of moving the clock forward and backward was seen in a comparison of hospital admissions from a database of non-federal Michigan hospitals, and they examined these admissions before the start of daylight saving time and immediately after for 4 consecutive years. In general, heart attacks historically occur most often on Monday mornings, maybe due to the stress of starting a new work week or the changes of our sleep cycle. And they go on to say the link between the lack of sleep and heart attacks has been seen in previous studies. Experts still don't have a clear understanding why that is. And so they say we are very sensitive to our sleep-wake cycles. And according to this lead author, says our study suggests that sudden, even small changes in sleep could have detrimental effects. They examined 42,000 hospital admissions in Michigan and found that an average of 32 patients had heart attacks on any given Monday. Once you sprang the clock forward, there was an additional 8 more heart attacks. And he said that they figure they should start adding extra hospital staff on that Monday after they start daylight savings time. But it's got to do something to you because, our bodies are set up, with our circadian rhythm, and that goes with the rise and fall of the sun, and so when you start jacking around with the time, you've got to be messing with your biological clock.
Well, there's a lot of things to talk about in this regard, and you're absolutely right. This is one of the stressors of life, right? And so what happens when the clocks get turned back is you lose an hour of sleep. Now, spring ahead and fall back, right? So in the springtime, you lose an hour of sleep, and that can be stressful to the human body, and depending on other variables, too many to predict, maybe your heart's going to give out, maybe your joints are going to give out, or whatever. This guy specifically looked at hospital admissions for heart illnesses in that particular time schedule. But here's the deal. I live in the middle of the country right now, and in the Midwest, and it gets really cold here in the wintertime. And if I went outside and it's 10 degrees below zero and snowing, and my goal is to shovel my driveway, if I did that in my bathing suit, the stress of the cold air would hurt me. If I stayed out long enough, it'd kill me. But if I'm smart and bundled up, I could shovel snow until I'm blue in the face. And if I really wanted to and took the proper precautions, I could pitch a tent on the ice and sleep on it if I guarded myself against that particular stress. Now, here's the deal. Everybody in the United States, everybody in North America, everybody all around the world who's not with Youngevity is under-nutrified to the max. Your body needs a certain amount of nutrients. Let's say it's a tank. Visualize a tank that needs to be topped off. Most people's nutrient tank is about 30% full, about 30% full. You can gather about 30% of the essential nutrients that your body needs in order to maximize its health, just to function normally by eating food. That means you're 70% down. Now, depending on your age, your weight, your height, what you just ate, and other stresses in your life, when you're 30% nutrient deficient, and there's one extra stress added, one extra stress like not enough sleep, boom, your heart explodes. Now, does your heart explode because you just lost an hour of sleep? No. Your heart explodes because there was a built-in weakness that was then capitulated by that one extra stress. That one extra stress tipped the scales against you. That study didn't study 100% nutrified people. MDs are blind to medical nutrition. They never take these factors into consideration when they're extrapolating their data. They never take it into consideration. They're like colorblind art critics who don't know that they're colorblind, criticizing the art. They're always going to be a little wrong. In this case, it ain't the time change so much as the weak body that the time change affects. Bada bing, bada boom. My people are destroyed by lack of knowledge. Your calls are coming up next, folks. Stick around. Hey, Doug. Let's hit the phones, baby. Who's first?
All right, let's head to San Antonio, Texas. And Brian, you're on with Dr. Peter Glidden.
What's going on, Brian?
Good afternoon. My wife has been fighting Alzheimer's for slightly over 19 years. She's stage 4, unable to recognize me. She's on pureed foods only. She weighs about 120 pounds, 81 years old. And I just got the starter pack for her. And I've seen several suggestions about curing Alzheimer's. And I'm wondering if something can be done for her that you could suggest, given this stage and the advanced age and stage 4 situation that she's in.
Okay, was she taking a statin drug, a cholesterol-lowering statin drug at any point in time in her life?
No, the only thing she's taking is anti-seizure medication.
Okay, well, that's interesting. And did she have seizures since she was born, or did she develop seizures later in life?
About 4 years ago.
Okay. So first things first, we need to make it very clear here that we don't treat disease. We certainly don't claim to cure disease. In my private practice, in states in which I'm licensed and regulated, I do treat disease. So does Dr. Wallach, and so does every other naturopathic physician. But in the context of Youngevity, which we're talking about here today, in the context of this radio show, we don't treat disease. Now, naturopathic physicians don't treat disease anyway. Or really, when you boil it all down to the nuts and bolts, we don't. All that we do, well, not all that we do, what we do, it's actually quite sophisticated what we do. We support and promote the body's built-in God-given ability to optimize its structure and function. We don't heal bones. The body heals the bone. We don't regulate blood sugar. The body regulates blood sugar, and so forth and so on. So our fundamental position is that the human body knows how to fix itself. The human body wants to fix itself, and most of the time will fix itself if you give it a chance, if you give it the stuff it needs to fix itself, right? You got to give the vegetable in the garden water and sunlight and fertilizer. If you remove any one of those, it ain't going to grow. Well, it's the same with the human body. So from our point of view, and God bless Dr. Wallach for this, first of all, Alzheimer's is caused by oxidative damage to the brain, to the central nervous system. Now, it might interest you to know that 95% of the part of the brain that's affected by Alzheimer's is made from cholesterol. That's what it's made from. 75% of the central nervous system in general is made from cholesterol. And so we believe that the same way that butter can go rancid, or fat can go rancid, or wine can turn to vinegar, the brain can become damaged through oxidative stress and become rancid, so to speak. And this is our interpretation of Alzheimer's and many different types of dementia. By the way, Alzheimer's can only be definitively diagnosed with an autopsy. So nobody knows that your wife has Alzheimer's. They can only say, well, we're pretty sure that it's Alzheimer's. It looks like Alzheimer's, feels like Alzheimer's. But you can't ever know until, regretfully, people have passed on and you do an autopsy of the brain. So oxidative stress, we believe, is the root cause of the problem here in the central nervous system. So the recommendation is to eliminate food from the diet that's causing oxidative stress and feed the body the nutrients that it needs to have healthy fat tissue, healthy cholesterol, healthy brain tissue. Stick around after the break. I'll tell you exactly how to do that, and I appreciate your call. All right, Doug, I think we're still talking to Brian from Texas. Brian, are you still with me?
Diagnosis seems to be completely different.
Come on in, Brian.
Down to one person.
Hello, Brian.
And I don't understand.
Doug, I think we might have lost Brian.
I think Brian's there, but he's not on the phone. He's yakking to somebody else.
All right, well, I think we need to move on.
Yeah, let's head on to North Dakota and Bill. Bill, you're on with Dr. Peter Glidden.
Hello, Bill. What's going on in North Dakota? Is the snow melted yet?
No, sir. We got 16 degrees, and it's we got a little winter advisory going on. So winter is not over.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Well, we got 69 degrees here in the Midwest. 69 degrees today. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's like summer.
Oh, wow.
Go figure.
I'll trade you.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Okay. Hey,
hey, man, thanks for the call. What's up?
Okay, my mom's got some issues. She's 80 years old, 150 pounds. She recently passed out while driving a car. Thankfully, she wasn't hurt. The docs pumped a bunch of fluid into her. They said that she was low in sodium, and then she started coming around. She didn't know where she was or who she was, she was like total blank. So anyway, I think she's minerally deficient. She recently had her gallbladder removed. She's always complained of low energy. She's got an irregular heartbeat, and the docs wanted to put a stent or a pacemaker in. Yeah. They took a CAT scan, MRI, and X-ray, and everything turned out negative. But I told her to stay away from the docs, and hopefully we can get her cooking again.
Well, first of all, they didn't need to take a CAT scan, an MRI, and an X-ray. They could have done just one. And, in a perfect world, they would have just done a high-definition ultrasound or an X-ray. One CT scan gives you 500 times the amount of radiation that a chest X-ray does. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And usually excessive, by the way, this doesn't happen in Canada. That's one of the great things about socialized medicine is that diagnostic procedures, right? Because everybody, it's all paid for already. They have really strict restrictions on what you can and cannot do in any particular case because they don't want to overspend. So usually what happens here is too many diagnostic techniques are ordered more frequently towards the end of the month, after the 15th of the month, because the doctor who works for a hospital has to order so many tests a month in order to maintain admitting privileges there. And this is a big thing about the profit-centered healthcare or disease management in this system that nobody talks about. They pad the bill unnecessarily, and we suffer because of it. And you mark my words, man. You mark my words. One of these days, you're going to wake up and there's going to be frontline headline news on the New York Times. A 300% increase in cancer rate linked to excessive use of CT scans. I mean, the data's already been done. The industry knows it's happening, but they can't regulate themselves because they're an out-of-control juggernaut monopoly, and you and I and everybody else in the world suffers because of it. But look, here's the deal. Most of the time when the gallbladder gets funky, it's because the liver is funky. And most of the time, when these are medical terms, by the way, most of the time when the liver is funky, it's because of a lack of selenium. Selenium is one of the most necessary nutrients for the human liver, selenium. But look, the liver doesn't just need selenium, it needs selenium plus the other 90 essential nutrients. So I know that your mother's undernutrified because of this situation. There could have been a lot of things that caused her to pass out. Low blood pressure, low blood sugar, and I'll tell you how to dial that in when we get back. Stick around, why don't you? I'll dial this in for you, North Dakota, on the other end of the break. I appreciate your call. All right, North Dakota, you're still with me?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. All right, so here's what I would do if this happened to my mother. I'd go to CVS, I'd get a blood pressure cuff, and I would measure her blood pressure when she's sitting down a couple times a day. As far as I'm concerned, which is the correct information, the upper end of normal is 140/90. The upper end of normal is 140/90. I don't think she has high blood pressure. I think she has low blood pressure, but I don't know. You'll know when you measure the blood pressure. Secondly, you want to go to this website, MD Lab Tests, plural, mdlabtests.com, and order a hemoglobin A1C. Did you know you can order your own blood tests online? You can completely sidestep the MD. You can do it. It's easy. That's one of the websites you can go to do it. I would avoid the MD. I wouldn't go back to them because they haven't been any help to you whatsoever. So, let's just avoid them. Use them only for what they're really good at, which is trauma care and surgery when it's absolutely necessary, a handful of infectious diseases. In a perfect world, it would be illegal for MDs to treat chronic disease because they are horrible at it and often they do not know what they're doing. And even if they do know what they're doing, their treatments are not designed to fix the problem. They're only designed to manage the illness, which is nuts. So, in any event, hemoglobin A1C will give you and your mother an idea of what her blood sugars have been like for the last 90 days. It's a much better test than just a simple blood sugar. Now, if the hemoglobin A1C is elevated, over normal, then she either has pre-type 2 diabetes or type 2 diabetes. And this causes sleeping sickness. Too much blood sugar in the blood causes an overproduction of insulin by the pancreas, and too much insulin in the blood puts you right to sleep. It's a massive sedative. So the most common cause of this is called narcolepsy, people just falling asleep for no reason, right? They're walking down the street, they fall asleep. They're reading a book, they fall asleep. They're watching TV, they fall asleep. They're driving a car, they fall asleep. They're at church, they fall asleep for no reason. Shouldn't do that. It's not because they're bored, it's because their blood sugar is nuts. It's messed up. So, if the doctor was on his or her game, he would have ordered this test and looked for this. I mean, they would have. They should have, but they didn't. So you should fire them. Stay the heck away from them. So check out the hemoglobin A1C. If it's elevated, then we need to support and promote healthy blood sugar metabolism. And we do that with one healthy blood sugar pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month. One healthy blood sugar pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month. If the blood sugar is normal, then we're just going to support and promote her system in a generalized way with extra liver support because of the history of the gallbladder illness. So to do that, the recommendation is one healthy start pack and 2 selenium. One healthy start pack and 2 selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. Plus, your mother, you, your father, your wife, your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your neighbors, your enemies, your friends. Everybody needs to stop eating the 10 bad foods. Everybody. Right now. As a matter of fact, yesterday we need to do this. You can get that list for free at my website, fireyourmdnow.com. That's fireyourmdnow.com. Scroll down the front page until you see the link that gives you the list of the 10 bad foods. So that's what I would do, man, moving forward. This might be a blood pressure issue. Oh, by the way, if it is a blood pressure issue, then to the Healthy Start Pack, add 1 extra bottle of white liquid calcium, 1 extra bottle of the Beyond Osteo FX. That's the name of it, Beyond Osteo FX. So that would be 1 Healthy Start Pack and 2 selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month, and 1 extra bottle of Beyond Osteo FX a month if the blood pressure is low. Remember, we don't treat blood pressure, we don't treat blood sugar, we don't treat arthritis, we don't treat a gosh darn thing. We give the body nutritional support, keep our fingers crossed, and see if the body can bounce back. Most of the time it can. But the most important thing, in my opinion, that you guys need to do is stay away from the MDs, because if they didn't do a hemoglobin A1C test, they do not know what they're doing. All right? I appreciate your call. Now go and check it out and call us back with a report. Douglas, who's next?
Said to Wisconsin. And Ron, you're on with Dr. Peter Glidden.
Hey, Wisconsin, I've heard that summer starts for you around July 30th. Is that correct?
Well, that might be.
Maybe this year, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for calling, man. How can I help?
Well, I got a little list here, but then I got a main problem.
Let's do the main problem first.
See, I had gray hair in my 20s.
That's a copper deficiency.
Sinus problems since I was a kid.
That's an essential fatty acid deficiency.
Bursitis.
That's a calcium and mineral deficiency.
And then it went away.
Yeah.
Now I've had bursitis for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And the only person that can get rid of the pain is a chiropractor, because there's a bone that pinches the nerve.
Yeah, I get it. Well, have you ever? All right, keep going. I want to tell you a little bit about this before I lose the thought. Have you ever seen them make taffy? Ever seen them make taffy?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got these two machines. It's like two arms, and it pulls the taffy, and it's like this kind of semi-rubbery, semi-solid, right, thing, and it's taffy, right? Well, if you were to look at your bone, the structure of your bone, your ligaments, your tendons, through a microscope, when the bone is healthy, it has structural integrity, and it's hard and durable, and life is good. But when your bones become unhealthy, when they have lost minerals and nutrients that they need to be healthy, the top surface of the bone begins, in a microscopic level, begins to get like taffy. And the stress of just lifting your arms and moving your joints, of course, puts stress on the tendon that's attached to the bone, and that starts to pull up little tiny pieces of bone. It starts to pull up little tiny pieces of bone like taffy, and that's what we believe to be the root cause of bursitis. It's a chronic mineral deficiency illness. Your bones are weak. Quite frankly, I'm surprised you don't have heartburn or high blood pressure or restless legs at night in bed. Okay, go. What else?
I got fatty cysts.
Yeah, where? All over your body and your skin?
Chest and arms.
Okay, that's another essential fatty acid deficiency. That's a different arm of the same thing that's giving you sinusitis.
Reflux disease.
That's the same thing that's...
stool.
Yeah, blood in the stool. Have you had that checked out?
Yeah, I had a colonoscopy.
Yeah, and what'd they tell you?
Nothing wrong. They said hemorrhoids.
Oh, they said hemorrhoids. Okay. All right. Well, good. That's good. At least it's a hemorrhoid and not something nasty. All right. So the reflux disease is caused by a calcium deficiency. That's the same thing that's causing the bursitis. That's interesting. The essential fatty acid deficiencies are driving both the preponderance of the fatty cysts in your skin and the sinus condition. Is there one other thing that I missed?
Well, you just said calcium deficiency. That's funny because I started to get pain in my shoulder again. It happens every 6 months where that nerve will pinch, and I took coral calcium. 5 days, it went away.
Well, there you go. Like the fella said, right? If it looks like a duck, flies like a duck, it's probably a duck. So now I got to tell you something, though, man. I've been in this industry for 25 years, and I used to work for a nutritional supplement company that only sold to physicians. I've been around the block with nutritional supplements, and one of the reasons that I'm such a cheerleader for Youngevity and Dr. Wallach is because Youngevity's nutritional supplements and Dr. Wallach's protocols, Dr. Wallach's therapeutics, produce more consistent change than anything I've ever seen, and I've used everything, man. I've used everything. I have access to nutritional supplements you can't get as a layperson. You can only get them as a doctor. Wallach stuff works better. The recipe of the nutritional supplement is everything. Not all calciums are created alike. Not all multivitamins are the same. It's like chicken soup or wine. They're all different based on their recipes. Dr. Wallach's recipes are untouched by anybody else. And on the other end of the break, I'll tell you exactly what to do. Stick around. Glad you called.
We're back on Dead Doctors Don't Lie on the ZBS Radio Network with your host today, Dr. Peter Glidden. Welcome back.
Thanks a lot, Doug. I think we're talking to Ron here. Ron, are you still with me?
Yeah, I still got my main problem, I got to tell you.
All right, shoot.
Severe red, puffy eyes with little pimples on them that bleed right up into my forehead. And every few years, a cluster of little pimples on my nose or chin that when fluid comes out and they scab up for a month.
Has anybody ever diagnosed that?
No, the dermatologists have no idea what it is.
So you've been to dermatologists and they're clueless. Okay, good. All right, so, well, I mean, you know, that's got to make you feel really great about, you know, writing another medical insurance, you know, premium check, right, to give you access to a group of men and women who don't know how to diagnose what you've got and who don't know or are completely clueless about how to fix it. I mean, that's the situation that this country's in. That's why the economy's going to you-know-where in a handbasket, because medicine that the MDs deliver for chronic disease doesn't work. It doesn't work. Under their care, we're getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and they don't blame themselves. They blame you. You've got the bad mystery gene, right? It's nonsense. So you need skin support. That's what we do, right? You need sinus support. That's what we do. You need support. You need bone and joint support, right? Your body is slowly but surely running out of all the stuff it needs to maintain its structure and function, and you're probably unwittingly eating food that's throwing gasoline onto this fire. And so, number one, you need to clean up your diet. There are 10 foods that you need to stop eating. Everybody needs to stop eating. You can get that list free at my website, drglidden, Glidden.com, drglidden.com, drglidden.com. Scroll down the front page till you see the link for the 10 bad foods. Get that list and eliminate those foods from your diet. What's your current body weight, Ron?
220 pounds.
All right. So you do this just by eliminating those 10 foods from your diet. You're going to lose about 30 pounds without even trying. It's going to take you about 3 months to do that. You'll lose 30 pounds without even trying. It's going to take you about 3 months to do that. In addition to cleaning up your diet, you need to take into your body nutritional supplements. And here's what I would do for 90 days. And what we recommend people do is just follow our advice for 3 months and look to see what improves. Proof of the pudding's in the eating. Look to see if the skin gets better, if the bursitis gets better, if whatever, right? And so we're very pragmatic, results-oriented here. I don't care if you believe it. Well, I want you to believe it enough to trust it. But really, where the rubber hits the road is your own experience of, you know, your illness and whether you get better or not when you're following any protocol. So here's what I would do if I were you to give my body a leg up. At 200 pounds, 220 pounds, I would do every month. I would do 2 anti-aging healthy start packs, 2 anti-aging healthy start packs, 4 bottles of liquid glucogel plus, 4 bottles of liquid glucogel plus, and 4 bottles of selenium. That's 4 bottles of ultimate selenium, 4 bottles of liquid glucogel plus, and 2 packages, 2 anti-aging healthy start packs per month for 3 months, plus eliminate the 10 bad foods. Give me a call back at about week number 4 with a report. You should see slow and steady improvement, like watching ice melt in the springtime. I appreciate your call. Doug, I think we got time for one more.
We've only got about 30 seconds here.
Ouch! Oh, my clock was wrong. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the old clock on the wall says we're out of time. Listen, if you like what we're talking about here, there's lots more to know. There's lots more to understand. Knowledge is power. Please visit my website and get informed, drglidden.com. That's drglidden.com. We're also all over Facebook. Just do a Google search for me, Dr. Peter Glidden. Log on to my website. My radio show, Fire Your MD Now, begins right now at 3:06 Central Time. You can check that out. Also, find a link to that at my website, drglidden.com. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for your trust. Thanks for helping us to spread the message of science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. See you next time.